Some people know him as Iron Mike. Others call him the baddest man on the planet.
Fighting out of the red corner, really needing no introduction the world over.
His rise to stardom began when he made his professional debut at the age of 18.
Entering the ring wearing his traditional black trunks.
On March 6, 1985, with a first-round knockout.
It's not what you are, it's what your opponent thinks you are. I'm not a monster, I'm not an animal, but he thinks I am.
He's the former undisputed heavyweight champion of the world.
Everything that Tyson does is intimidating.
And holds the record as the youngest boxer to win the WBC, WBA, and the IBF heavyweight titles.
He won't be able to do it. It's all over. Mike Tyson.
He's been inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame and the World Boxing Hall of Fame. And he's even become a computer game star in Nintendo's Punch-Out, selling over 1 million copies worldwide. He's acted in movies and television, including playing himself in the film The Hangover.
By the way, man, where you get that cop car from?
We stole it from these dumbass cops.
Nice.
He's performed a one-man show about his professional and personal life in Las Vegas.
This is my story. This is my journey.
Broadway.
This is my pain. This is my ache.
And a 3-month national tour.
This is my mistakes. This is my gift.
And now he's an author with his tell-all memoir.
This is my undisputed truth.
Mike Tyson. Now from the SiriusXM studios in New York City, the Mike Tyson Town Hall, hosted by Sway from Shade 45.
Yeah. I thought, this doesn't work, but I thought this was to promote my all-around events and stuff. This is your shit, huh?
Well, yeah, Mike. I mean, I'm just using you to catapult my career right now, man.
You did real good. You did real good.
I'm doing all right,
you
man.
Did great.
I mean, you've been used your whole life, so
use is good. Just misuse is bad.
Misuse is bad, right?
Use is good. We all use each other. Everybody uses one another. Just don't misuse.
Okay.
That's when you cross the boundaries.
Okay. I definitely won't misuse, man. Mike Tyson, ladies and gentlemen, give a round of applause for Mike.
Thank you,
man. You know, when I sit down with Mike now, I feel like I'm hanging out with the homie, so it doesn't really feel like we sitting there.
I'm homie material.
You're homie material, right?
Material,
you know, man. Now I got you here, man. I'm a boxing fanatic, Mike. Mike and I've hung out on radio a few times, hung out outside of radio. I always like to pick your brain.
We did film too. Remember, you had a camera in front of you. You did the black stations.
That's right. I sold out, Mike, man. I got to pay for this health insurance. I sold in. Is that what it is?
You sold
in. You got to pay for this health insurance, you know?
Shit. That's the only thing I worry about. Am I going to die with good health insurance? Shit.
Yeah.
Ain't that some shit? I'm going to have to pay for it myself. I got to pay for my own funeral. Shit. Now, I save up for that stuff, though.
You worry about that?
You think I don't when I do?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I guess I'm gonna have to pay for this shit. Funeral's gonna cost $200,000 by the time I die if I'm 70 and shit. You know.
You don't see yourself past 70?
Excuse me?
You don't see yourself living past 70?
Well, that's figuratively. I mean, 70 is like some good shit. I don't see myself past 60, but 70 is just like hypothetical shit.
Man, I gotta pick your brain real quick because I was watching. I don't know, Max Kellerman or someone was talking. Someone interviewed you about this Manny Pacquiao fight, and you said something really interesting to me. They asked you how you think he's going to fare against Brandon Rios, and you talked about a component, the intangible. Once a person is knocked out, the way he was knocked out, that's the deciding factor of what happens next. How do you feel Manny will fare this time around?
Sway, it's just about. It's how he accepted his defeat. Does he go like this? I gave my best and I lost to this guy. Mm-hmm. Also, I just made a mistake and got caught. Because, matter of fact, when you think about it, Marquez was just getting ready to get knocked out, and he just ran into that punch. Mm-hmm. He almost knocked Marquez out. Marquez was hurt, but he threw the punch and he hit him. He had that little break because he hurt him right at the end of the round. He had that minute rest. And he just went after him again, and he ran into a punch he didn't see, and he just got knocked out. But if you look at it from that perspective, this is just work, and it was a bad day at the office. I beat this guy 3 other times, and if I didn't make that mistake, I would have beat him again.
Yeah.
So if you go in there with that mentality, he should do well.
He should do well.
But if you feel like, God, this is my last money fight and shit, I got my ass kicked the last time, and I'm just going to fight for some money, this is the last one, then he may get his ass kicked again.
He might get his ass kicked again.
It's all about the spirit of fighting, you know, how you feel about your opponent, how you feel about yourself, not really about the last results. Because every day is going to be a different day, it's going to be a different event, they're never going to be the same event.
That's interesting. I know because when Michael Jordan would miss a dunk or miss a free throw, it didn't matter. The next game, he was still trying to win and end up winning the championship.
We just don't get discouraged. Life is going to always, we're going to always have disappointing moments. Anybody that wants to be, especially if you want to be the best in the world, if anything, there's going to be disappointments. Yeah. And you just got to get past those disappointments and never be discouraged.
How did you get past? I mean, I watched when you were in Tokyo, 1990, and you fought Buster Douglas, and you know, and he shocked the world. None of us have ever seen you knocked out before. How did you resolve with that? Like, how did you get through it? Did you doubt yourself in your next fight?
Never. I just knew my heroes were beaten before. And the reason why they became my heroes because they overcame those defeats and won again and became successful again. Not even if they didn't fight that guy again. They probably moved up in weight and still became successful and still became great fighters. But the main objective was we weren't going to lay down and die, and we were going to still be superstars in the field that we chose.
So the next fight, that was just behind you.
Yes, and it's all about life. My experience. I'm not saying other people's experience. We all do things that seem differently. But my experience is just never to get discouraged. It's just a bad day at the office. That's how I look at my life. I was working. It was a bad day at the office. Like, if you had a bad interview and all of a sudden I start getting up and kicking your fucking ass in the office, and you know what I'm saying? Well, I'm never going to fucking do an interview again. No, well, this guy was just crazy and he just decided to attack me. And we continue to go on in the next interview and hope the next guy don't attack me again. Right? Kind of, right?
Well, that's if I recover.
No, you will. We all recover.
I will recover. I was thinking about you when I was reading this book, and I want to come back. You talked about a moment in your life about this young man named Gary who bullied you and stole your pigeon.
Well, he didn't steal me. He killed my bird.
He killed your bird, right? I'm going to fast forward because we were, on Shea 45, we've been recently talking about Jonathan Martin, who walked away from an NFL team because his team player, Richie Incognito, was bullying him, in the locker room. And and it forced him to walk away from his career, at least to consider walk away from his career. When you think of bullying, you typically think of kids bullying other kids. But
a 90-pound weakling, the quintessential guy, pencil neck kind of guy that they show in those little magazines. Yeah. And stuff. And you look at this guy's like a 300-pound monster, right? And I don't know. He doesn't fit the particular stereotype of bullying and stuff, but I guess it could be emotionally bullying or whatever it may be. And you look at me, and I know about bullying, but from my perspective, I look at the reason why I was being bullied because I was a fat kid and I never had a fight before, and this might not be the right way. And at first, when I looked at it, and I said, wow, this guy's 300 pounds. I'm not feeling sorry for this guy. This guy needs to throw a punch or something, let him fight. He's a football guy, but maybe he doesn't have that temperament. Maybe he's an athlete and he's not really a guy that wants to have a brawl or a fight in the street. Because I realize there's athletes that are like that. Muhammad Ali is the greatest fighter ever lived. He never had a street fight. Yeah. So, it's more of a psychological thing, and how they feel about the situation. And it's just bad. It's an epidemic. Yeah. And I'm sure it's all over the world, but it's just very pervasive in this country. I was at the where was I? New York City Library today. You familiar with that? I was at the library. I did a speech there. So before we did the speech, we walked around and we just looked at some of the books and stuff, right? And you realize that this stuff just really doesn't, and we were looking at some of the books about people picking on people even back then and before time, and this stuff just really doesn't stop, And I was looking at the turkey, right? I was looking at the turkey, this is interesting, because my mind, something's wrong with my mind, and it skipped. I forgot what I was talking about, so I was playing it off, and then it came back. So I was looking at the turkey. So
that damn Buster Douglas.
Hell yeah. That drugs won, all right? Fucking cocaine. All right, so listen, do we know that the turkey was going to be the national symbol of America, but we chose the bald eagle. So imagine if it was a turkey, would we be as aggressive as we are now if it was a turkey instead of the bird of prey? He has no competitor in the air. He's the only one. The only one that could compete with him is another bald eagle, a hawk, a falcon, another gray. Nobody could compete with the bald eagle. He's the most aggressive. He's the apex predator in the air. But imagine if it was the turkey. Would we have a turkey mentality? We'll be eating bald eagles.
We'll be eating bald eagle for Thanksgiving.
So, I don't know. Does that have a great deal to do with our mentality, our symbols in life?
The messaging we put on television, the movies.
Nobody's going to mess with the gangster, the baddest guy on the planet. Else, if you're a killer, you're this and that. Maybe it's just our, most likely it is our message, who we are. Nobody's going to ever mess with us because we're the ego. We represent fear and taking everybody else's shit. You know what I mean? Nobody, and not taking shit from anybody else. And so, I don't know. I'm pretty much a neophyte in life. So, I was thinking that. That's what I was thinking. That's what I'm getting back to.
No. Go with that. Go with that, Mike. I'm always, the reason one of the things, growing up in Oakland, which is a lot like Brooklyn, we idolized you, and it wasn't because of the bad things that you were getting caught up in. It was the fact that your resilience, even though those bad things were happening, we kind of related to it because of where you came from, the environment you grew up in. It shocked me when a guy like Cus D'Amato was able to impact your life and influence you the way he did, because growing up, and I don't mean to offend anybody, but we didn't have a lot of trust for white folks, especially men of authority, because the only time we dealt with them or interacted, they were either principals at the school or they were cops, or someone who was going to, put you in trouble. Judge.
Prosecutors.
Yeah, it was all those scary people. How were you shocked at your dynamic with him, and how was he able to impact a young kid from where you came from the way he did? I mean, did you have to open your mind to it?
No, wow. Cus did something that, he did a primary mistake with me. Being that I was a young black kid and he was an older white man, he never, maybe thought this was good. I don't know. We're going to find out today. If we do. He never let me know I was a nigger. He informed that I was superior than everyone else. And even though, that allowed me to supersede and prosper in life and just grow in my field, it left a bunch of blind spots for me that I didn't know when I ran into that I was a nigger. No, I'm not a nigger. I'm not going to be treated like that. And, and everybody, you learn, and most black kids learn, this is how you do this. You don't go in that neighborhood. You don't talk back to these cops. You don't do this. I was never taught that at a young age and stuff, interacting and stuff. And so I meet this guy, and he's pretty much of a communist guy. He don't like our society. He doesn't like the right-wing people and all that stuff. He's pretty much kind of like a socialist, really left-wing guy, liberal guy. And I never had those dynamics. I just thought I was something special. And he kept filling my mind with that stuff. That I was special, and I always had that for a long period of time until I ran into that brick wall of life. But I always thought I was very special, and I didn't. Let me see. I lived my life pretty open. I didn't have no secrets. It was just, this is what it is, and you have to deal with it.
When I think of you, and I wonder if that's a remedy for a lot of not just black kids now. It's society is based on a lot of times economic status. So you could be, you either poor, you middle class, or you're wealthy. But those who come from less fortunate environments, they don't have that kind of messaging. you're special all the time. You know, you're different, you're superior.
Well, I didn't have that from my mother and them either.
Yeah.
And that's what made it so special, because this white guy was saying it to me. And as this white guy said it, and of course we always knew white is right. And so that made it different than me. And I had him, and he knew how to feed me that stuff. And I guess in all actuality, I'm a megalomaniac. I used to always like to hear myself more than people. When I'm alone, I used to like to hear myself talk about myself. When I was a little kid, I used to always say, wow, I would beat Achilles if he was here. Just talk of these really far-fetched things and stuff, because my self-esteem was so low, but I had this like megalomania ego. And those two really don't match, but they always help people. I don't care if you're really successful. Most of the successful people have this stuff. They don't feel good about themselves personally, but don't challenge their ego. And that's just what it was.
There are guys like Muhammad Ali, who was a very outspoken athlete, and he was also politically conscious as well, which led to him losing his fighting license at one point in his career. But he was at the top of the totem pole, the best that ever did it. You got guys nowadays I liken to a Kanye West, who's someone who's extremely vocal, and no matter what it is he feels, he says it. You have been the same way, extremely transparent. This book, when people read this book, it's almost like I feel like I know too much about you. You know what I mean? If there's such a thing, because you're so open. Where did you, do you think, when you look at Muhammad Ali and you look at yourself, you look at Kanye, all of which have been scrutinized by this in society for whatever it is they believe, whether you agree with them or not, do you think it's been too much for America when you have a very vocal black man of power who knows he's got power to speak the way you spoke and the way Kanye spoke and the way Muhammad Ali spoke?
I don't think that's power. I just think that's somebody exerting their feelings and stuff. That's not power. At one time we weren't able to say anything, and people allow us to believe that's power. Power is feeding nations. Power is making a difference for generations of other people. Don't care what nationality they are. Power is helping other people and transcending and evolving in different forms of life for the future. And that's not what we're doing. We're making noise, but there's more that we should be doing. Kanye West is going to be a really interesting guy if he doesn't get killed and he grows to be older and he figures out what this is all about. Because he has the ability to do a lot of things in life, more so than Muhammad Ali and myself had to do. There's always a limit. There's always a glass ceiling in life for everyone. I guess unless the power that be. We don't really know how this world is really structured. We just know we are to believe. This is what we are set to believe. If we had more money, we would do better, which isn't necessarily true, because we believe the people that run this world have all the money, and that's why they run the world. But we don't really necessarily know that. This is just what we were taught, and we know that the hedge fund guys and the Fortune 500 guys and what other conspiracies out there.
I'm scared to say it.
Yeah, some all kind of stuff that I can't remember. They're out there, and we're just pawns, But we really don't know. We really don't know. We read a lot of books to try to get some information, but the reality of it is this: we really don't know if there's a God or not. We really don't know how we really got here. But we want to find a reason. We want to grasp that it was religion, and this is what happened with Christians, and this is what happened with Muslims and Buddhists, or whatever religion you are. We want to believe this is what really happened without actually being there and really witnessing it, because that's our faith. And I'm just a strong believer that people that have really blind faith have been led blindly. We really actually don't know, but we want to believe. And that's how we live. We live from a belief system more so than a factual system. So we don't know. I don't look at myself as some hero or some role model. I'm just a guy living life on life terms, trying to write my own story. My own way of writing it, so to speak. And I don't know. I don't know if it's guys that have power like Muhammad Ali and Kanye. These are just guys that I think are amazing individuals in this journey of life that I'm experiencing and stuff. But other than that, I don't know who's powerful. I don't know who can stop the prison system from making the prison system the prison system, and to help people from being felons and stop felons from, robbing and killing. And what can prevent that? If we could prevent people from committing crime instead of benefiting from them for doing crimes and building more prison, that would be a lot of power, changing the minds of people from doing negative to good. Now that would be serious power.
All right, that's the Undisputed Truth with Mike Tyson right here. We're going to come back with more questions from our audience, the Foxhole, Channel 96. Hey, Mike Tyson, man. Don't forget, Undisputed Truth will be premiering this Saturday on HBO at 8 p.m. So make sure you're watching HBO to find out more about Mike Tyson. I had a chance to see the Broadway play, and now reading the book, man, I got to ask you this. You are so forthcoming and transparent on stage and in this book. After it was done, did you even consider how this might impact your kids when they read these stories? Or
Holy shit! Oh, hey, it's so ironic that you say that, because my kids don't have nothing compared to the lifestyle I had, an upbringing. They go to these Ivy League colleges, right? Now they fucking cottages where I was locked up in, So, in these real private schools, and that must be interesting. I said, Dad, what's this like? My kids read better than I do. They speak better. They just have a different lifestyle than I had. Their lifestyle and world scares the hell out of me, and I'm sure mine would scare the hell out of them.
Yeah.
I don't know. My kids, I don't talk to my kids about my life, my path. They don't ask me about my path. Mm-hmm. I'm sure during the process of me living life, or them living life, they heard all the Mike Tyson jokes in their schools. They've been teased before, but they're just really loving kids, and they have a lot of friends. And
did they see your show on Broadway?
Yes. They seen my show. In D.C., I did in D.C. They live in D.C. The ones that live in New York, they seen that show. Let's see where else they seen my shows. They seen my shows, and I don't know how my kids feel about me. Mm-hmm. I don't know. They're into their own things. They're either teenagers. My youngest daughter is 4 years old. My oldest is 24. So they have their own life. Mm-hmm. They got their cars, they have their personal life. And I know when I go to their birthdays, they always ask me to come because they love the interaction with their friends. Their friends like to take pictures with me and stuff. And it's free, so they take advantage of that. They got to pay for this shit. Mm-hmm. And
do they ever argue with you? I couldn't even imagine arguing with you as a kid.
My kids are not afraid of me.
They're not afraid at all. Yeah.
I'm afraid that they might yell at me, so I'm always on eggshells when I discuss something with them. And I wish I could be a father with them. I did a lot of absentee stuff, being this world traveler, world champ, baddest man on the planet, whatever people called me back then. And so I left a lot of wreckage in my travels, and I never spent enough time with them. And it's like I was their father when I was with them, and then I was gone, then somebody else was their father, like their mother's boyfriend or fiance, whatever it may be. And I don't feel I have the right to discuss with them, hey, what kind of boys are you dating? And my kids look at me like, are you going to be dad now, today?
Okay.
So I just, I don't know, I don't try to be the dad, disciplinary dad. I'm just very respectful. I just want them to be my friend. If they could discuss certain things with me, I'm just happy with that.
You've been married, this is your third marriage?
Big time, yeah.
And then Robin Givens was one of your most publicized marriages, and I read that you said that was really your first real relationship. Now you're with Kiki. Yeah. What did you learn from the Robin Givens relationship, and then how are you different in this marriage than you were in the past?
Well, I don't know what I really learned from that stuff, because that was just some emotional stuff. I've never really been in a relationship to that degree where I'm responsible for another fucking human being and stuff. And I was just way over my head. I wasn't really ready for that stuff. I was thinking, this is going to be my wife, and you're going to obey me, and we're going to do this, and have children, but that's just not the real world. Everybody wants everybody want to have their own world, and they want their shine in the sun, so to speak. Everybody needs to have boundaries to be respected. I'm come from that really, even though the guys were successful and they're respectful people, everybody believes like you're the man of the family, you run the family, when in all actuality, it's really not like that.
Yeah.
And without being, not being like a drag on marriage, the ruler of the relationship is who has the strongest personality. That's who pretty much runs the relationship, and that's just what it is now. And having the strongest personality is not about being the strongest guy and kicking their ass and stuff, because you're going to still lose, and she's going to still be the one that runs the household, and everyone's going to listen to her. But it's all about the boundaries and the relationships. And I learned that late in life. It's just you have to pick your battles. Some battles you're going to win, some you're going to lose, and it's just about respect. And I never really actually knew what respect was. And respect is really pretty much allowing something to happen that you really don't want to happen, but you have to be joyed as well. And that's just what I do. I just know my side of the street is clean. I keep my side of the street clean, and I have no control over what she does on her side of the street. I hope she chooses to have it clean like mine, but if not, I got to walk in some dirty shit. That's just what it is.
I love your analogies. It was, I remember when you guys sat down with it Barbara Walters, Robin, and you, and they talked about when it was a conflict y'all had that ended up becoming a domestic violence incident where you hit her, and you had to live with that stigma for years. People don't really bring that up anymore. I was thinking about Chris Brown, who's actually a friend of mine. And he had a similar situation. He wasn't married. Not that made it right, but with Rihanna, when he had a fight with Rihanna, and he's dealing with that stigma now of being someone who would hit a woman. It doesn't totally define who he is altogether, but he's having trouble in the public eye, and he's probably having trouble with himself. What advice would you give him, having been someone who went through that?
I've discussed something about Chris because he struck somebody, and I know that. I expressed my opinion. I didn't give any advice. It's like I'm the big advice guy because I've been in trouble and stuff and been to jail. And I don't know. I don't know his upbringing with his mother. Did he ever see his mother get assaulted by men?
Yes, he did.
Well, then that's where that comes from. And his mother probably still hung out with the guy that assaulted her, and he still saw his mother sleep with the guy. The guy still into the bedroom. He still stayed at the house, and they still loved and kissed and hung out. So that seemed like an appropriate relationship. And sometimes we believe. I'm not saying Chris. I don't want him singing about me and saying this dumb motherfucker don't know me and fucking deuce it.
Yeah.
But that's if you see that's the functional lifestyle you see. I could beat her ass and she could still love me if I buy her some shit. I don't know if that's it. So that's what I saw in my life, and I said, no matter if I do something, if I cheat on her, give her venereal disease, I buy her a fucking Benz, or I get her a house, or whatever it is that she wants, and I could buy love. And I don't know, maybe it's that way.
Yeah.
And I don't listen, I know, and I just know this is not a bad person, him.
Yeah.
He hasn't, I could look at him, he's just not a bad person. I know a bad person. I lived a life as a bad person before. He's not a bad person. But he could fall into that stigma of being a bad person, because it's not what you are, it's what people think you are. And he has a lot of opportunities. He has a lot of potential to do a lot of remarkable things in life. But it's just going to be on him. How does he do it? How does he hang? How do he deal with these situations? Who does he have in front of him that he wants to mirror their life in a good direction? In a good direction. He just can do a lot of good things. But sometimes you have to listen to this. This is really good. Sometimes we get caught up in that culture where we want to be that nigga. We're gonna run this motherfucker. Ain't no bitch gonna tell me what to do. Fuck, you know who I am, bitch? I sell all these motherfucking records, ho. And we want to get caught up in that culture. And that culture ain't gonna send you nowhere but allow those kind of women to come in your life and accept who you are. And at the end of the game, they're gonna have you locked up or in a whole bunch of trouble. And we just have to transcend and become better people, and that's what it is in life. We have to push ourselves and really find out what love is. And love is a command to rise to your highest potential. You know, to see yourself in the brightest light that the sun can cast upon human eyes. And that's what love is. To allow you to be at your best, to rise to your highest potential. And, getting arrested, that's not anywhere close to becoming your highest potential in life. Yeah. And he can do that stuff. And I did that stuff. I always did that stuff. Every time I got in trouble, got in a car accident, got arrested, I ran to rehab. Rehab was the way I got out of stuff. Yeah. I ran to rehab because if we go to rehab, the judge didn't have to send me there. I went there on my own. I know this helped. And maybe the judge know that game too. Yeah, did rehab didn't really help you? I don't know. I don't know if it helped him or not. Yeah. What about you? Did it help you? Yeah, rehab helped me. That's why it's a safe place for me. I run back. You know what I mean? I just don't want to see him go to prison or anything because he's not really going to like that. He's a good guy. He's not going to like a mistake. That. You know, he made a mistake, but trust me, Sway. Yeah. Oh, it's an invisible force that want him to cross that line. You know, there's people in there they want to see him there so bad. Yeah. They want to see him there. He's not gonna realize when he goes there he's not a cool guy. He's not really hip and cool when he goes there and stuff. And that is hate for him to do that. When you went to prison, I know you found Islam. We got this one clip of someone who asked you about prison life and if people in prison looked up to you, they worshipped you because of who you were at that time. This was your remark. Don has to know what times comes. I guess my only alliance, my true honesty is to Allah. And not to no other Muslim, not to no set of Muslims that come say he's a Muslim now, he with us. You know, my loyalty is as an individual is who loyal to me. My first loyalty, my first obligation is to Allah. That was you commenting on finding Islam in prison. How did Islam help you get through prison? I don't know. Islam really was. I didn't really understand religion and God until I got older. That was just a moment in time right there. I'm more Islamic and have a better appreciation for God now than I ever did back then. That's just me talking shit back then. That prison talk? Yeah, it's just talking shit. Trying to pull the forces in with me. But God's within, you know what I mean? And it's tricky because the more I look into the churches and the mosques for God, the more I start seeing the devil. You know? What do you mean by that? God is just your own definition of God. We have to deal with God within our heart and not from another human being. There's nobody could represent God. No preacher, no imam, no godly possessed requested leader to represent God. You know, we don't need a bishop to give us the last rites to make sure we're going to God. You know, he's going to accept us or not. You know, we don't need these figures. You know, we don't need the figures. If you want to believe God, if you really want to try to find God, you want to read some scriptures, talk to some people. I don't believe we need these figures. That's just my belief. You know, because that's what this country's built on, worshiping. We've been, even since we've been Neanderthals, cavemen, we always worshipped something, a rock, a pond, a bird, something, you know. We need to worship something bigger than ourselves. Yeah. You know, and I don't think God is ignorant enough to make us in His likeness, because we're all stupid fucks when it comes to Mike Tyson. If we're in God likeness, God is an idiot. All right, this is Town Hall with Mike Tyson. We're on Foxhole Channel 96. We're gonna take some of our questions from the audience. Michael Camp, how you doing? Good. How you doing? All right, Michael. Hey, Mike, how you doing? First and foremost, I've been a huge fan since I was a little kid, through thick and thin. I've stuck with you no matter what.
So I appreciate seeing you get through all of this stuff and still being the man you are today.
Thanks, Mike.
No problem. My question for you is, was it hard to expose everything to the public in this book?
Yeah, pretty much. I have to curse all the time. I wish I didn't do that. When Ratso, hey, can Ratso come in here? Can we have Ratso, my author, my ghostwriter?
Let's bring him in here.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting to hear this guy's lying about this.
Ratso was your ghostwriter, right?
Big time.
Oh, there he is, right there. Give it up for Ratso, y'all.
Hey, Rat. I was saying, now I don't know how long it was, to be specific. When you first met me to do the book and we met each other, when was the last time you met me after you asked me the first line for the book?
About 2.5 years.
So, yeah, so when he asked me the first thing, he asked me something, and the way he said it, listen, he said, so tell me, how did you feel about Robin when she did that? I said, what? No, you going to tell me it was nothing. Like, she took certain money out of your account and put in a hug, or whatever he said. And I was like, whoa, and all that yucky stuff started coming up that I'm a sucker, you're a dickhead, you're a schmuck, Mike. And I said, hey, come back tomorrow. I don't want to do that shit right now. Yeah. And he haven't seen me for 2.5 years after that. You know, so, yeah, it was really deep shit. I didn't want to deal with that. So nobody want to deal with being a dickhead romantically. You know, there's nothing worse than a lovesick guy, a pussy whoop guy, and it's nothing worse. Nothing worse. Oh, God, nobody would think my God love you, you don't love me back. So I didn't want to deal with that stuff. It just made me too vulnerable. And so 2.5 years now, I'm married and stuff, and my wife is just putting out, well, we need some fucking money. We need to survive now, okay? So I sat down with Ratso, and I was really emotionally naked. And even during that time, I'd say, Rascal, I got to get away. I got to shoot some fucking zombies. Now, please stop. I want to do something else. So, I don't know. You tell me, Ratso, how did this stuff work out?
Well, I mean, this has been like a dream for me because when Mike was in jail, I sent him a copy of Nietzsche's autobiography to read because it got me through some rough times. And I knew that this guy didn't do it. And I said, if you ever want to do your memoir, this is right after I did Howard Stern's first book, Private Parts. I said, I'll be there for you. And then years later, it turns out he was with another agent then, and the agent said, let's do the book. And I said, great. I flew to Vegas. I meet with Mike. We met a few times. And then I'm waiting the next day. Mike's not available. And then waiting the next day, Mike's not available because he just was not in a space to do it then. And now he's in a much better space. He's got a lovely, wonderful, supportive family. And, doing these books are a very emotional thing anyway because you really do lay your soul bare. And he more than anybody else because he's like the most honest guy I've ever met. So... I roll with the punches, and I think, we created something that will last a long time, this book.
Yeah, give it up for Larry Ratso Slamin. Yeah. You work with Howard Stern.
Just stay here, Larry, because
David
just in case some more book stuff,
Yeah.
Want to chill out, just in case they answer some stuff I can't answer.
Okay, cool. Let's keep them on the side right there. All right, let's go to our next audience question. Say your name, where you from?
Hey, Mike, I'm Laurie, pharmacist from New Jersey.
Hey, Laurie, the pharmacist.
Hey, what's up? On a lighter note...
how much did the morphine patch cost? No, I don't get that morphine patch. Fuck you, yeah.
You can afford it. Don't worry about it. On a lighter note, we loved you in the Hangover movies. It seems like you had a lot of fun with that. Any plans for any future movie roles?
Oh, man, I have a movie with Warner Hartsart coming. I don't know the name of it, of course. But yeah, we're going to do movies and stages, performances. We're going to do a lot of stuff. I'm going to even be behind the cameras and produce my own movies eventually. Me and my wife, we have a company called Tyrannic that we work together. Well, that's a trip working with your wife, You can't even say, ooh, that's a hot chick. You can't say nothing wrong. It's good. You're just always on point, right? So it's just a trip. But yeah, me and my wife have a lot of projects coming up.
All right. Let's go to the next question.
Hi, Mike. How you doing? Eric from New Jersey.
Hey, Eric. You guys are friends? You know each other from Jersey?
No.
Okay.
Just
cool.
If you could go back and change one part of your life or one event in your life, what would you change and why? If anything.
I don't know. Maybe my daughter. I lost a 4-year-old daughter. That's the only thing I would change. Everything else go with the flow.
No problem.
Yeah.
All right. Let's take the next question.
Hey, Mike, how are you?
Fine.
Denise from Long Island. You look
Hi, Denise from Long
My
Island.
husband and I are big fans.
Awesome. Where's he at? All right. Why are you so far away?
Sorry.
Holy moly. Listen. This is
Married 25
crazy.
years.
I know. Me and my wife could have been married 1,000 years. No, that would not work. We would not be separated. My wife said, I'm going right here. Well, you want to change seats with us?
Yeah.
Numbers.
Strong personality right here.
Yeah, exactly. Ooh, man. Hey, my wife go like this, you need space? Why do you need space? What's the reason for your space need?
So what's your question?
So what was the best lesson you learned from Cus, and have you passed it on to your kids?
Wow. Cus was just a man. Cus was a different kind of guy. Cus was just a man that believed in a lot of discipline. And that's just such, and to me, I always think discipline in the heart, and that's why I'm always able to go to diets. I'm always able to stay in the house and not go outside. I'm pretty goal-orientated. And it's interesting that none of my kids are really, they have goals, but they're not as hungry. They have different directions of going about it. I would die for something. I would get close to dying for something that I really want. I don't know if that's just stinginess or that's determination or selfishness because other people care about me and they worry about my health, but I would just actually starve to death for something that I want, a movie, or goals. And I don't know if my kids would do something like that. They're different than me. They have different upbringings than me. They never actually, they never been out away from their mothers. They never starved before. They never had to worry for getting food. They have nice house. They never had to worry about nice clothes. They never had to worry about people teasing them because they're on welfare or anything like that. So I don't know. I want to be able to give them something in life. I just don't know if I did. If I did, it's unconscious.
All right. Let's take the next question.
Hi, Mike. My name's Tom from Jersey.
Hey, Tommy from Jersey.
Who was the most influential person in your life at the peak of your career?
Cus D'Amato. Even in his death, he was more influential than anybody alive.
And who would be now?
Oh, God, my wife. She got to take credit for everything. No, that's just what it is.
She's a business-minded person, too, though, right? She every time I see Mike, I see Kiki, and it looks like she's kind of running the show. Like, in terms of the business.
At least she likes to think she is. She's running it. That's what you appear to be. She's running it.
Okay. All right. Next question.
Mike, how you doing? My name's Angela. I'm from Jersey.
Angela, you from the Jersey?
Yeah,
crew.
Jersey in the house today. So during the fight that you bit Holyfield's ear, what was going through your mind that caused you to lose control?
To hurt him.
To bite his ear off, I guess.
Yeah, big time. I bit him a couple of times.
But you guys have since discussed that, though. Right?
Yeah, we're pretty cool. We did a commercial. We're pretty cool about that stuff. And I'm sorry that I bit his ear, and it was embarrassing now I think about it. But the guy, he's a decent guy. He bit his ear. God, I'm sorry.
Let's go to the next question.
Hey, Mike. Nice to meet you. My name's Joaquin. I'm from Brooklyn.
Joaquin. What's up, dude?
Yeah. So, as a student of boxing history, do you think your career would have been different had Cus had lived a few years and kept you from Don King longer?
I'll still be fighting if Cus was alive. Cus believed in fighting. He didn't believe money didn't mean nothing. It's all about glory. You can still fight, Mike. Mike, you didn't get hurt like these guys. They've been hurt. They've been knocked out. They're still fighting. They're still earning money. You should be fighting, Mike. Then he said, no, Mike, you don't want to fight? Mike, all right, let me pick your opponents then, Mike. I'll make sure you win. Let me pick your opponents. You should be fighting. After 10 guys I pick, you'll be fighting for the title. Cus he's a strong believer in that. He has a real strong personality. Really strong. And even though he's an old man, he's very intimidating. You know, and he'll make you feel as if you don't want to do this, you must be a little boy. You must be afraid. Are you afraid? Mike, I'll fight him for you. I'm 80 years old. I'm 90. Let me fight him for you. If you're afraid of him, I'll fight him for you, okay? And so he really would pressure me. He would make you feel like, wow, I'm a pussy. I better try. Yeah, he was great at manipulating and stuff like that.
Were you doing the drugs at the time you were with Cus, or that happened after his?
No, I never did any drugs. Maybe I smoked a joint or something, but never did any drugs and nothing like that. I was just too I'm just too anal. You know what I mean, for goal oriented stuff like that. I'm just too anal. I just want to succeed because I'm always. There's a possibility I may fail. Matter of fact, it's my personality. In order for me to do something great, to accomplish something great and get notoriety, I have to be in a situation where if I fail, I'm going to be humiliated. I'm going to really be talked at and laughed about. And by being in that situation, it allows me to rise to my highest potential. I'm so insecure about those things happen. So when I fail, I really fail bad. But when I succeed real big. There's no in between. Either I burn out or I just burn to the sun.
All right.
One or the other.
All right. We're in the town hall discussion with Mike Tyson on the Foxhole. What's your question?
Hey, champ. My name's Eric. I'm from Jersey. Me and my friends are really big fans. If you could travel back in time and you could face a boxer, who would it be and what would be the outcome?
I wouldn't face nobody. Everything I do now is just on the money. Everything's supposed to happen now. And if I fought somebody in the past, I wouldn't make much money. So everything is the way it's supposed to be. That's why we have the past, the present, and the future. You know, we're not supposed to be back then.
All right, and we're going to take this one final question. Go ahead.
Whoa, the guys in the middle and the back don't get shit.
No, they can hang out afterwards if you want to hang out, you know.
Nice to meet you, Mike. My name is Melanie, and I'm from New Jersey as well.
Hey, Melanie from Jersey.
Nice to meet you. Just wondering, what is your most favorite or best moment in your boxing history?
Well, I guess when I first won the championship at 20.
Yeah.
I thought that was a big thing because no one ever done that.
At 20 years old.
Because most heavyweights, they start their career at 20 years old. Most fighters, a lot of fighters do. And I just thought that was pretty awesome because Cus made it pretty big. Because now I think about it now that I accomplished, that's not big. 20 years old is pretty young. You're supposed to do things. But back then it was big. And Cus had the record for 21 before I broke the record with Floyd Patterson. And that was something that he thought was big, and I wanted to do that for him. So that's big. That was big for me.
All right, man. Let's give a round of applause for Mike Tyson. Man,
thank you.
The Undisputed Truth is the book. In stores now. You can get it online. Also, don't forget to watch the HBO special on Saturday at 8 p.m. And, man, you got to catch him on Broadway. I got a chance to watch the work that you and Spike Lee put together. It was amazing. I mean, you know, you're very brave to be on that stage. I know it's different from being in that ring, right?
Big time.
Yeah.
Well, at least it's the same thing because, you know, people can say, fuck, you ain't shit, you nothing, oh, fuck, man, let's get out of here, oh, you suck, or this or that. And the only difference, I just don't got to go to the hospital afterwards.
Same thing. Mike, man, thank you for your truth, your undisputed truth.